Number 1. The Dead Sea Scrolls are older, closer to the originals. For years, scholars estimated the Dead Sea Scrolls were written mostly between 150 BC and 70 AD. But a new 2025 peer-reviewed study from PLOS ONE used carbon-14 dating and AI handwriting analysis to redate many of these manuscripts, placing some of them up to a century earlier than previously thought. These scrolls are no longer just post-exile records. They're moving up closer to the times of the original writings. That narrows the gap between the Bible authors and the copies we have. This also undermines the idea that Bible researchers are infallible when it comes to Bible dates. This also supports what evangelical Christians have long held. The Bible we read today reflects what was actually written thousands of years ago, not a late Persian or Greek era invention. Number 2, the Persian invention theory just got crushed. Skeptics have claimed that much of the Old Testament, especially the law and historical books, were written during the Persian period to invent a Jewish national identity. A few years ago, one scholar recently concluded an outrageously late date for Genesis based on pure conjecture. Quote, therefore, Genesis was probably written by the end of the Persian period, so circa 350 to 340 BC, end quote. But now that we know the Dead Sea Scrolls date back earlier, that Persian theory is starting to collapse. It couldn't have happened to faker news. Let's consider the real evidence. We have the Hezekiah Tunnel inscription from 2 Kings that matches the biblical account and dates to the 8th century BC. We have the Ketef Hinnom silver scrolls, quoting number 6, also from the 7th century BC. And now Dead Sea Scroll fragments like 4Q114, which is Daniel 8 through 11, are scientifically dated to as early as 230 BC. Within the same period, many scholars believe Daniel was written. Even secular archaeologists like Israel Finkelstein have acknowledged that parts of the Old Testament's first 5 books, the Pentateuch, like the so-called Yahweh material, may go back to as early as the 10th century BC. That's during the time of David and Solomon. Now, I don't think the Pentateuch was written over many centuries, but rather it was Moses, with Joshua writing a bit after Moses died. All of this points in one direction. The Bible texts are not late fabrications. They come from real people in real history, testifying to a real God. All this evidence is important to debunk the claims that the Bible was a made-up folktale just before Alexander the Great. Number 3, from Africa to Qumran, Yahweh was always there. Here's what's interesting. God's divine name, Yahweh, appears in the Dead Sea Scrolls over 1,000 times. But did you also know Yahweh appears in a 14th century BC Egyptian inscription at the Soleb Temple in Sudan? Pharaoh Amenhotep III built this temple. The Egyptian text talks about a group of Semites called the Shasu of Yahweh,